You're listening to the Sports Scramble Podcast, where four friends serve up a weekly plate of sports with a side of SEC bias. Now, here are your hosts, Chet, Jacob, Wade, and Tyler.
Let's go!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Sports Scramble Podcast. I'm your host, Chet, and I've got Tyler, Wade, and Jacob joining me tonight. How are y'all?
I'm pretty tired, but I'm good.
Yeah, you had a long day of live Pelicans NBA coverage, working the halftime show. How was that?
Yeah, it was a pretty fun game. Winning overtime. Really good homestand for the Pels. We swept the Suns, who were nipping at our heels of first place in the West. So we were able to beat them twice and look forward to working again on the 19th. So we get a week off here as they'll hit the road on their 3-game road trip. But I mean, we're in first place in the Western Conference. That hasn't happened in quite some time if you're a New Orleans Pelicans fan. So it's definitely a good time to be a Pelicans fan. And good, it's like a soul for a soul. The Saints suck and the Pelicans are doing good. So I guess that's fine.
There you go. Wade, you had a sports-packed weekend. Shooting some Baton Rouge hockey.
I did. The inaugural Baton Rouge hockey or the return of Baton Rouge hockey. Got to see Jacob's future team, the Mississippi Seawolves, in action. They played an exhibition game in Baton Rouge, and then this week's game I think counts in the standings. So upping the ante a little bit. Plan on going back to it again. It was a good crowd. I think there was about 7,000 people on hand, and a very exciting game back and forth between the Carolina Thunderbirds and Mississippi. And at the very end there, I think his name was Ulmer, number 93. He had a breakaway goal, his second of the day. Carolina was playing a little risky and had pulled the keeper to try to get an advantage on offense, and it backfired as their guy missed his shot, and Mississippi flung it down the ice and then followed it up with a good return after it clinked off the iron. So very good game, and exciting to see if Baton Rouge can get a team.
Yeah, you had a little home and home with Carolina down there, and then your new home in Baton Rouge. Did you sit on the Baton Rouge side, or did you go sit on the Carolina side?
I think everybody was a little confused on who to root for, but with Mississippi being the technical home team,
right.
Most people were cheering for them, but we were kind of sitting right in the middle between the two benches, so got to see both teams.
There you go. Fudge, what'd you do this weekend? Were you just shutting it down at Home Depot the whole time?
Well, I've had a well-rested weekend from finals.
There you go.
So
did you pass them all? Hundreds?
Yeah.
A+? Yeah. You graduating?
I did not get all A+.
Well, all right. Kick them off the show. We're polling for a new host. If anybody wants to come on, we only accept 4.0 GPAs.
But no, it was good. I needed a break. I think I slept most of the day. On Friday, went out to dinner. Lauren's birthday.
There you go. Happy
so
birthday!
We did
there.
that a little bit there. Birthday dinner, and I worked yesterday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, so that was rough. Getting up out of bed, and I worked this morning, so I'm resting now, so it feels good.
Not a whole lot of sports consumed, huh?
No. I've actually slept through a lot of sports this weekend, so I've woken up just at the right time. Yeah, I woke up in that overtime game yesterday. So yeah, I've just been absolutely exhausted and just passing out mid conversation with people.
Well, if you drop off
out
tonight,
here,
that's okay. We'll just remove you from the stream and let you take a little nap.
I think I'm okay right now.
We can have a napping segment. There's not much going on in sports this week, so you could show us how to power nap.
Yeah, all we got this week is some NFL, a little bit of NBA. We'll talk more about Mr. Zion Williamson over there on the Pelicans, just an absolute menace to society. And of course, our fantasy seasons are coming to an end in week 14. I found out in my work league that I was leading, and I've gone on a 4-game losing streak to barely get into the playoffs, hopefully. Since there's only 4 teams, the season doesn't end until next week. So I've got another chance to secure that spot. I will not be starting Huntley or Mike White. I can tell you that because I had them both starting this week, and should have picked up Brock Purdy. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have started Evan Ingram. Should have started Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, it was just an all-around bad week for fantasy from my end. But as you can see behind me, my boys over there in Croatia got it done in Qatar, taking down Brazil in PKs. Mr. What's his name? Neymar wasn't that happy. He was sad. And I followed in Croatia's suit on Friday. They won their tournament or their game, and I won my first Scramble tournament. So I've got a trophy and everything that I'll have to bring on to the next show. We got it done in our work league, shooting a nice 10 under over there at Tour 18. We, that's the one that's got all three from Amen Corner at the Masters. So we went 3 under on Amen Corner, and I don't think anybody believed us. But
I think you should just cut the sentence right there. You don't have to say where you were.
Right. Yeah, we played at Augusta National. I got some connections. No, we that was fun. It was a good time. These are the 3 guys I play with. We played so many scrambles together. Always, for one of the work leagues or something. And we'll shoot like a modest 8 or 10 under. It's pretty good in the scramble. And then somebody turns in like a 19. Like, come on. Like hole in one, eagle, another eagle, another hole in one. It's just a little crazy. So, but let's start off with Zion, Tyler. What can you say? What you saw the 360 windmill dunk in person? What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, there were some people that were saying, "Oh, that's on sportsmanship." I really could care less about sportsmanship in that matter. I mean, Zion said it perfectly. He said it in the post-game interview that the Suns were the team that eliminated my teammates from the playoffs. So he took that personally. Zion, with all the injuries that he's really been dealing with, I mean, he stepped up in a big way. I mean, he's playing like an MVP candidate. They're getting MVP chance over there in the Smoothing Center. Is definitely warranted, and definitely 2 big wins against a Western Conference opponent like the Suns, because the Suns are going to be a threat in the Western Conference. So this was definitely huge. They'll play one more time in Phoenix. This will be this upcoming week on the 17th. So at worst, the Pelicans will tie with them. So definitely huge to pick up these 2 wins in back-to-back games.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of sets you up for success come when's the playoffs? In June, July, something like that. So, man, we all saw they took them to 6 last year. I mean, it was a bunch of rookies. So I think, the Pels might have a real shot this year. Futch, what do you think about the dunk? Was it unsportsmanlike, or if it was Ja Morant, nobody would be talking?
No, I think they'd be talking no matter who it was, really. It's one of those situations where I get it, where you're at home and you want to make a big play. But it's not so much the dunk as I don't know if Zion should have been on the floor at a time like that. Healthy lead for the Pelicans, no time on the clock. Normally your bench guys are getting some time at that stage of the game because, pretty much all of the Phoenix starters had sat at that point.
Right.
So it didn't make a whole lot of sense for that to happen for the Pelicans, and you could kind of see the bench reaction from him doing it. Nobody really got hyped. It was really like a I don't know type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about that. So it was weird to see after the fact, they said, well, this could be the start of a rivalry, and I'm thinking, really, Phoenix and New Orleans, there's really no rivalry there. That's just
it's definitely not geographical.
No,
it's like halfway across the country from each other.
Yeah, and it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. Even like Tyler referenced the press conference after with Zion, and Phoenix goes down and scores. Yeah, but it's garbage points, and they just need to take them at the end of the day and walk off the court. I think it's just, I don't want to say it's a classless act, but I just think that Zion needs to watch, what he's doing in the future as far as the team goes forward, because they will face backlash not only from Phoenix but from other teams. If that does happen.
Yeah, he might be getting like a little cheap shot here next week. Chris Paul definitely didn't like it. I think the benches cleared. They were getting a little chippy there. At the end of the game, we were getting towards the mouse and the palace action. You got to be careful.
Can I ask, what in the hell was Jose Alvarado doing in that mess? It was him and Cameron Payne jawing at each other.
What is Pierre the Pelican doing in that
I don't
mess?
understand. Yeah,
was the mascot in there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was holding back
Jose Alvarado.
Oh my gosh.
All right, it's staged then. That was definitely scripted. I mean, come on.
Think Zion probably snorted some Zatarans before the game, and that was probably why he did it at the end of the game anyway.
With some Zatarans, instead of his pre-workout, he just mixes Zatarans in his Gatorade and throws that back.
Absolutely.
So, Wade, you're close to New Orleans. You gonna make it down to a Pelicans game and see if you can see the big man?
I'd like to come see Tyler in action, and now that the Pelicans are really good, catch some quality NBA. So, got to get that on the calendar. Got to get Tyler over here or to Mississippi for one of Jacob's hockey games. And then eventually we got to get out to Texas. We got to make our trips.
Yeah, I mean, I'm moving farther away. That's why I wasn't on the show last week. We were looking at houses. I'm moving over to the Waco area. So my Houston teams, I'll still root for you, but I won't be the hometown boy anymore. But
you gonna be a Baylor fan?
Yeah, I guess I can go watch Baylor play basketball. I don't know. I mean, of course,
you're gonna be cutting.
Don't be a Mavs fan.
Baylor.
I'm just gonna be a Mavs fan now.
No.
Courtside with Mark Cuban.
No, I'm gonna go hang out at the Cowboys games. See if I can get into Jerry's world. But speaking of Houston, they were ranked number 1 in men's basketball. They got upset by Alabama yesterday, so they take a tumble. I don't even know where Baylor's ranked at. Are they good this year?
They're always a pretty good program.
Yeah, they'll stick around.
I think we lost Tyler.
Yeah, we're losing him periodically. I think.
Yeah, he's got that. Internet issues. He missed like one of the games.
I'm having trouble, so I guess I'm just gonna have to go no cam this whole entire episode.
Oh man,
Zion disrupted all the power in the greater New Orleans area with this thunderous dunk.
This powerful dunk took out all the internet power that I had.
We are now -8 feet below sea level.
Yeah, he just dropped y'all even farther. You got to watch out come hurricane season. But I mean, basketball is starting to shape up. I saw they're still jawing about the Lakers, about how they're AD's having a MVP season and the Lakers have a losing record. So you can put up all the points you want, but if your team's not winning, what good is it?
Let me talk about that real quick. I think the issue with the NBA, it does surround the media a lot with the whole hype behind. It's not only the Lakers, but it's the Warriors at the same time. I mean, just recently they've gotten on the Phoenix Suns only because they've gotten good with role players in D-Book. I mean, that's why they're good. I think that, they're going to talk about LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson forever. That's just what they're going to do. It doesn't matter if they're first in the league or last in the league.
Right.
I mean, the Lakers got more coverage being dead last through the first 15 games of the season than anybody else in the NBA. So it just didn't make a lot of sense from a standpoint of watching anything other than just the games, because really it doesn't matter other than, the game, because, I mean, the Lakers have gone on terrible losing streaks.
Last I looked, they were 10
8
and
games.
12, and that was Friday. So I don't know if they played any this weekend.
I mean, they started the season 2-10. So, I mean, they've turned it around a little bit, but they're not even 500 yet, and I think the Warriors are 500 or just below it.
So they're 11 and 15 right now. They beat the Pistons today, 124-117. But let's be real, it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They're in a big market. That's all they're going to talk about. What's y'all's thoughts? LeBron tanking this year to get a better chance at getting his son on the team. Think it's happening?
I mean, his son's got some work to do for sure. He's not even a.
Yeah,
I don't even think he's a top 10 prospect.
What was that, Tyler? There he goes. Well,
I think he was saying that LeBron's son's only a junior in high school and he's a senior in high school, so he'll need one more year out of school before he's eligible.
Jeez, LeBron has to play. Let's see, how old is Bronny James?
I think he's a senior in high school.
He's 18. So
So he's got to play 1 year
Jeez.
of college or 1 year of G League, and then he can get drafted.
I mean, LeBron's going to be in the league forever if he wants to play with him. Golly.
He might be looking more at the second kid.
Didn't college baseball go to the whole, like, you've got to play how many years?
You have to play
3 years if you go to a 4-year school.
See, I feel like college basketball should be the same way in that aspect. I hate the whole one and done crap.
It should be what college baseball is. You either go after your senior year of high school or you play 3 years of college.
Yeah, I like that option. And I think every sport should have some sort of developmental league, and that's what it should be for. If you want to go out of school, play 3 years there, and then when you're entering the NBA, you're 21, just like a college star.
Yeah, it doesn't matter
it's not going to happen.
league or college.
We see people produce.
I don't think you could do that in the NFL, though. I don't think you could go straight to the NFL out of high school.
I mean, you would just have like a conference that's like the equivalent of the SEC, but they'd be getting paid. So they're not going to. They're not getting paid now when they already have it.
Yeah, I say they're getting paid NIL now to where it's. I think you're probably going to lose a lot of those one and dones. I mean, basketball is a little different. It's still a physical sport, but it's not as physical. But it's like they can go out of as a first year college at 18, 19 years old, go out there and compete. But like an NFL, dude, you're playing against like grown men, and you're coming out of high school after playing against like a sophomore. If you're like a wide receiver, I mean, you're just gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, it's more of a physical, actual health and well-being thing.
Right.
It's like Zion. It's like the situation with Zion. I mean, went to Duke and play 1 year and you're gone. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense because, I mean, they're young. I mean, they're really young. And you could argue the statement, well, people like Kevin Garnett and Kobe Bryant, they never went to college. They went to the NBA
LeBron
straight out of high school. Yeah, and it just seems like it's a little weird to do it, but at the same time, it makes a lot of sense because it gets everybody on the same scale there. Because let's be honest, nobody at the age of 18 or 19 years old is going to be a starter in the NBA. They're going to sit on the bench for 3 years. I mean, You might as well go to college. Now there's at least an incentive with NIL money. I mean, that was why guys weren't going to college or only spending 1 year in college. It was they wanted to be paid.
Yeah,
I mean,
they wanted that money. I mean, you got to think of where they're coming from.
As much as they want to tell you, oh, it's my dream to go to the NBA. Yeah, we get it, but you can't wait 2 more years in order to do that. I mean, there's a big money part in there. I think you'll see a lot of guys stay now, and I hope they do. And I think the same thing should go for the G League or the Euro League or China or NBA China or whatever. I think you really should have to spend at least 2 years in the lower leagues in order to get experience before you go to the NBA. Just because, I mean,
if you go to college, or you're saying if you don't go to college,
if you don't
be
go
like
to
a
college
minimum 2 years in a G League,
right? Yeah, I think you at least in a lower league. I mean, there's plenty of leagues out there in order to do it, but I think if you look at people like Zion, I think it really, in that sense, it wouldn't have mattered had he, only done the one and done. He ended up sitting for injury for a long time.
Yeah, almost 2 full seasons.
He could end up playing another year at Duke or another. I mean, there's other things there. I mean, would he have gone to the Pelicans? Probably not. But it's something you just don't know, and it just seems kind of weird for guys to do it. And I don't know if it's scheming for them to find out. If this team's gonna tank in the NBA, then I'm gonna try to just do my one and done and get out because they're gonna draft me.
Yeah, well, the only person I can remember in the past like 5 years that has gone to the G League and skipped college and still has made it in the NBA has been probably LaMelo Ball. I mean, he went overseas and played he didn't even finish high school. Well, I guess he got his GED and graduated through like homeschooling. But he went and played overseas and then came back and didn't play in the G League or anything. But I mean, is there anyone else that y'all can think of that went to the G League and is now a starter in the NBA?
I mean, not only the G League. I mean, people like Luka Doncic. I mean, played Euroball for a really long time. And kind of made.
How old is Luka?
20. He's like 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that. But yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for guys to do it. It's a developmental thing. I mean, that's what it's there for. I mean, that's that's why people do it. I mean, you see a lot of guys get drafted to these NBA teams and they only spend, they'll spend the summer with that team, but once the season starts, they kick them back down to the G League. Hey, get experience so that you can be a role player for next season on the bench. I mean, it makes a whole heck of a lot of sense.
Hey, you know where I like to spend my summers?
Where's
Buffalo Bayou Brewing Company.
Good
what a transition there.
I had one more answer.
One more summer with them.
Yeah, and he's a Houston guy. Jalen Green was the only person to go G League to #1 pick. So
that was this past
year out there that I could think of.
Yeah, and he's done all right, but he was kind of one of those like once in a lifetime talents like Zion, So you're not going to get your average high schooler to be on that. I don't think it gives them a added advantage. I think that there's probably a more advantage to going to college, being in a program that's got you disciplined, hitting the weights for 2 years, and then coming pro. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, if you want to be like these guys going from the high school to the G League, you got to drink the Buffalo Bayou beer. I think it gives you wings like Red Bull almost.
Like our G Fuel.
Yeah, it's like G Fuel, Red Bull, all that stuff. But no, if you're over here in Houston, you got to come check out our friends at Buffalo Bayou Brewing Company. The weather today in Houston was a little iffy in the morning. It was like rainfall, tornado, hurricane. I mean, the roads were flooded, but then afternoon, it was nice and sunny, and people were enjoying the day on the balcony at Buffalo Bayou Brewing Company. So go check them out for the best brews and the best views of the city. Okay, so we seem to have solved the NBA one and done situation here. It's probably not going to happen as often because of NIL. One thing that a lot of NIL plays into is college football. So we can talk a few minutes college football since not anything really happened. You had Caleb Williams won the Heisman. Did anybody else see that going differently?
No, I did. He was the favorite.
Yeah. But did you say you did?
Yeah, I just felt like, I don't know, it just felt weird to have him be the Heisman winner. It just didn't seem.
How about his suit he wore? The Gucci suit with the Adidas logo?
Oh my God. That was weird.
Here's a hot take though. I do not think you should be able to bet on the Heisman winner, because you're telling me that only the announcer had the answer on that piece of paper when votes were turned in like 2 weeks ago, and ESPN's doing this whole production. They have them sit in certain chairs, and the families are arranged in certain spots.
That's a good point. That's fixed there. They know what's going on.
It's like betting on a movie script.
Of how much he won, because he got 2,000 votes and Max Duggan only had 1,000, which I thought that shouldn't have been that big of a margin. I mean, Max Duggan, if you look at his numbers, pretty much statistic-wise, had the same season as Caleb Williams. So, I mean, I saw it after the last win that USC had, even that he had a bad game. I mean, maybe if Max Duggan would have beat Kansas State, who knows? Maybe he gets more love. But since they lost that game, maybe that tied into it. And also, Neil brought it up a good point. I mean, the Heisman voters, most of them already vote before the conference championship. I feel like that's a stupid rule to begin with. You should let the games play out and then vote.
Well, my question is, like, where you said 2,000 votes? I thought it was like 554.
No,
was like the winning vote.
It was like
that was like in the region. I saw that same graphic. It was like he had 550 from like the West Coast or something. Which,
I was gonna say, I was like, that's a little weird because I don't know. It just seems like a big margin there between them two, like too far of a margin. I mean, Caleb Williams had a decent season, but I don't think. I mean,
are we getting some fraudulent mail-in votes? Is that what's is that what's happening now?
Fraudulent votes from the AP.
I think that, like real politics, we just had some lackluster candidates in there.
Yeah.
It just feels weird to have Stetson Bennett sitting there with an undefeated Georgia team and literally get last place.
Yeah, it's still weird to me that
it just felt strange.
That Stetson Bennett is getting more votes even after, Hendon Hooker finished 5th place. I mean, he had, way better seasons than any of these guys. So
he wasn't there because he got hurt.
If Hendon Hooker didn't get hurt, he wins the Heisman, no doubt.
I agree with that. I think it's Hendon Hooker for sure. I mean, even Blake Corum was having a better season. I know he's a running back, but like Stetson Bennett was kind of just thrown in there at the end.
He was just thrown there because of Georgia's success. I mean,
right.
That's
he only had 16 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, even freaking Jane Daniels had more touchdowns.
Yeah. So
I think if they really wanted a Cinderella story, it should have been Max Duggins because of
we got to look at
him
market too. You got to look
being the backup quarterback.
It's the storyline. They want the Hollywood glamour. Another USC quarterback wins.
Taking that team from 0 to 100. I mean, that was unbelievable for him to do something like that. I mean, he put the entire team on his back. I mean, that was a prime example of that.
Well, like Caleb Williams sit up there on the podium, he might have won the Heisman, but the other guys get to go compete for a national championship. So
I feel like that had to play into it. When he said that, I felt like that had some sort of play in it.
They felt bad for him, so they gave him the Heisman.
I feel like they felt bad for him because he number one, he's injured. Number two, their team doesn't make it. I mean, they can't say that Caleb Williams carried that team because they got a transfer running back from Oregon.
The university is switching colleges.
Yeah, and Jordan Addison, give me a break. Like, you can't tell me he's the only player
a one-year deal. I mean, he's gone. He's going to be a top 15 NFL draft pick and probably end up on Detroit, and they're going to turn into a monster of an offense.
Who? Caleb Williams?
No, I'm talking about Jordan Addison. He's going to be top. No, Caleb Williams still has one more eligibility year, so. Hopefully the Saints can tank again. That way we can draft him.
Well, Addison might end up on the Eagles since the Saints suck, and they'll have their number 3 pick, and they could probably use a running back. Neil has a comment about Wade's point. The bettors are banned from betting on the Heisman, which I understand that, but you don't think they talk to their friends?
No.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. They people know stuff, So,
I know stuff. I just lose all my bets.
I think we could have put
an opening statement at addiction.
Yeah, we're gonna write that one down and put on TikTok.
Timestamp that one.
Do you sound like this? Yeah, you're addicted to sports betting.
I'm just saying that something that draws out over weeks. It's a big production. Like it just. I don't know.
Well, when they released the odds, Caleb Williams at minus 2,700.
Yeah, it wasn't really worth arguing because they didn't try to dupe anybody into it. I mean, you'd have to put in a lot of money to get anything significant. So
I wonder what Max Duggan's Heisman before the season would have been. Imagine if he would have won that. If you put
if he was a finalist, there's
a starter.
Yeah, Max Duggan
wasn't
wins
even
a football
of
game.
The season.
He wasn't even listed as a starter for that.
They protect themselves on that kind of stuff though. They're really vanilla with the options they give you. They give you 30 players, and you're not going to see something like that. I mean, I tried betting on a future baseball MVP because Taylor Ward got off to a fantastic start this year. He had more home runs than Mike Trout, and then he fell off a cliff. But they wouldn't even give you odds on him, and he was a starter, had 20 home runs. They wouldn't give you odds midseason. I mean, they protect their own and give you very vanilla options.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to. They're in the business of making money. They're not trying to lose any. So, there are big payouts when you hit a crazy parlay, but his odds are probably insane to win MVP next year. But they may come out when you get closer to that, spring training or something.
Yeah.
So, other college game that happened, Army-Navy, the famous game every year. Army upsets Navy in double overtime, and then Navy honorably discharges. We'll call it that. Their head coach after 25 years, the winningest coach in Navy history, is no longer there. Kind of a shock. I mean, they won 8 games this season, didn't they?
No,
it was a down year for them. They went 5-8, I think.
No. I'm talking about Navy. Navy
went 4-8. Army went 6-6 with the win.
Oh well, then
this was a bad year for Navy.
This.
But he's still done a lot for them.
What did I read? Oh, I guess it's because it says Navy has beat Army 11 times in the past couple of years, and I mean he's had his record. Let's see.
It's been
109 and 83. I mean, he was there for 15 seasons. I guess you could switch it up. But, I mean, it's Army Navy. These guys are there to serve our country. They're not there to play football. So, really, anything that comes out of a win out of that is pretty pretty good success. So
Well,
I
it's
definitely
so
have
big.
the utmost respect that they do that and then they come and play football for our entertainment.
It's so big, the Army Navy game. I mean, one reason it's so
Couldn't
big
get
for
you fell
Army.
asleep during it.
I mean, the one reason it's so big for Army is because of they lost at one point. They lost 14 straight to Navy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's crazy about it. And I think watching that game, it's so hard to watch. And I didn't falling asleep, obviously. Number one, I was tired.
Triple
Number
option
two,
left and right.
they run the same offense. Both teams run the same exact stinking offense. And I think they threw the third pass attempt, not completed pass, third pass attempt in overtime in order to tie the game. I was just like, really? I'm thinking, they run the ball. It is ride or die. It could be 4th and 15 or 3rd and 16.
We're running it.
Run the football. And I'm like, what is going on?
So the stat that I saw was that, I don't even know how to say his name. Ken Numatulu.
Close.
We don't need you to pronounce anymore.
Yeah, and he did play in Hawaii. He's just like Tua. So he had 10 wins in 2019.
Yeah.
So I mean that's 3 years ago, kind of a long time ago, but still pretty good. I mean, but you got to switch it up every now and then. Who knows? Maybe Navy will be a college football playoff team next year. When it goes into 12. If I'm Navy, when I'm going into this Army Navy game, or even if I'm Army, you're kind of guaranteed to win if all of a sudden you just change up your offense and start throwing the ball. I mean, nobody's expecting it. They don't have DBs that can cover their wide receivers. Well, I guess you don't have wide receivers that can catch. You got running backs out there playing wide receiver, but it was a good, close game, double overtime, always fun to watch. It's a tradition in American football. Neil said that he watched it with some Army grads, so I'm sure that was a fun time. We got the college football bowl season coming up here. We'll probably save that till next show to give our favorite shows and New Year's Six bowl predictions. I just want real quick, Jacob, who's your national champion?
Georgia.
Tyler.
Easy. Georgia.
Wade.
Pretty boring. Georgia's gonna win it.
I'm going Georgia too. I'm gonna write this timestamp down in case we're all wrong. So,
I mean, it's just kind of that season. I mean, look at the Heisman. The answer was right there. It wasn't overly amazing, but what else were you going to do? I mean, you could make a case for Michigan. You can make a case for Max Duggan and TCU, but I mean, Georgia's just got the most talent on the football field.
Do y'all like Georgia playing Ohio State, or would you rather see the big game, part 2, in the semifinals instead of the national championship?
Especially in Atlanta. That's going to be tough to beat. And Ohio State's defense, I mean, they got gashed on the run. And Georgia, if they can get Kenny McIntosh, if he can get on the ground, then it's going to be a long day. I mean, the only thing going for Ohio State is that they have a high-powered offense. Marvin Harrison has been their top wide receiver, but you're not going to beat Georgia in Atlanta. That's going to be their backyard. They know how to play that. They literally just played there, so they don't have to travel too far. So I think there was always the playoff game. We get one close game and we get a blowout. And I think this is going to be the blowout game.
You think Michigan and TCU is going to be close?
Yeah, I think that one's going to be the closer one. That's more of a balance. I just don't see this one. I think that Georgia controls in this game.
Okay.
I think Michigan and Georgia both would have won either semifinal matchup. I think that you couldn't say that every year, but I just think they're the consensus number 1 and number 2. Every year we talk about expanding the playoff, and then, this year we have clear as day what you would make the national championship matchup if we were on the old system. So I'm all for more college football, but I mean, you're just making Georgia and Michigan work a little extra hard around the holidays.
Yeah.
I think for that Georgia and Ohio State game, I think the biggest thing here is I think I'm going with Georgia because, number one, I haven't seen enough in the offense from Ohio State late in the season against decent teams. I mean, they were the number 1 scoring offense in the country to start the year through the first 5 or 6 games. But after that, they started tapering off because they started playing actual teams. I mean, once you get to a certain point, they kind of fell apart due to injury, and they really had to go to their bench to find it. I mean, the problem is with Georgia, best defense in the country. They're going to be better than Michigan. Michigan held Ohio State pretty much to their lowest scoring number, I think second lowest of the year. But, I mean, it could be a blowout because Georgia's better than Michigan, in my opinion, by far. I think Georgia playing at home, it is basically a home game, that plays in a big factor. And I just think that this is an opportunity for people watching football all throughout the country to see a team get absolutely exposed because they don't play anybody good enough during the regular season.
There you got exposed.
So when destroy the Big Ten.
So
SEC
when they get there,
is dominant.
But that's the problem.
I agree.
They don't play anybody there. And when they do, they're either playing at home or it's snowing or it's 10 degrees and nobody wants to play them then. They just fold. So the problem is they're playing on the road. They have to win a big game and they have no idea how to beat Georgia. And there's no chance.
We need more of these Big Ten SEC games where you had like Auburn and Penn State. Now, granted, Penn State blew out Auburn, but it's
third game of the year. I think there should
Penn
be
State's here right now and Auburn's there. So.
Right, but a few years ago, that would have been a close game or something.
Well, a couple of years ago, it was a big game in Penn State. I mean, it was a touchdown game. I mean, it really was the difference. But Michigan and TCU,
obviously.
Yeah, Michigan and TCU is a huge game, I think, for TCU first because they're going to show Michigan something that Michigan hasn't seen, and that's a quarterback who's actually able to spread the offense out and throw the ball and not scared to throw it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, C.J. Stroud looks scared to throw the ball against Michigan's defense. So I think if Max Duggan basically just does what he did all year long, they have a balanced offense. Sure, you can run the ball, but good luck running the ball against Michigan's front seven.
Well, Duggan
you're going to have to throw it.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going to have to throw the ball, and it's going to be an all-out scoring battle in the 50s. I mean, that's really what it's got to be for TCU to win it. I mean, that's because they're not going to hold anybody under 30 points because they gave up, 27 to Baylor on the road, and they're atrocious.
NASCAR Neil thinks TCU's winning the whole thing. He wants to prove us all wrong. So I'd love to see TCU win the whole thing. That would just be awesome. But
that's the fan pick, but mine pick Georgia.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Georgia.
I think what if it does happen, and the reason it does happen is because Max Duggan didn't win the Heisman, and they said, you know what?
It's just motivation.
I think Duggan would take that. He would take a national championship over Heisman.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you're feeling confident, you're a TCU fan. You go over to Fanatics and you go ahead and buy the national championship gear before the price gets hiked up.
You always wait.
Just enjoy your Fiesta Bowl merchandise.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why you wait to the end.
Yeah, I mean, you could go get some cool Fiesta Bowl stuff. You could use code TINSEL, TINSEL, for up to 65% off. And if you order now, it gets to you before Christmas. You want to give that college football fan in your life some good gear, you head on over to Fanatics, you use our link, you give us a Christmas present, and you get it one yourself. So, and if you're a Georgia fan, it's probably a safe bet to go ahead and buy some national championship merch right now. So, let's get to some NFL. We usually start with NFL, but I decided to switch it up this week because there was like no college football talk. I saw a graphic MVP race right now. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes, shocker. Number 2, Jalen Hurts, which not a lot of people saw. I mean, maybe. Number 3, Joey B.
I did.
Number 4, Josh Allen. And number 5, Tua. Not going to say his last name. So a lot of people thought Justin Herbert was going to be up in that MVP race, and he just had a pretty lackluster season this year. But out of those 5, Tyler, who do you think takes home the MVP trophy?
Well, you said, I think we had the same question a couple of weeks ago, and my answer is not changing. Jalen Hurts continues to ball out for this Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they're 11-1. They're the best team in the NFL right now. Some people are saying that they're frauds because of the schedule that they're saying, but I don't think that they're the real deal. I mean, there's really no one in the NFC that's really going to contend with them unless you're the Minnesota Vikings. That's pretty much the only team that's even coming close, just because of the high-powered offense of Kirk Cousins, just how that elite.
I don't know. Dallas has caught fire here recently. I know
Dallas
they had a rough game today.
Fire, but, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the Philadelphia has owned them in the past couple of seasons. So Jalen Hurts, the way that he's been playing, I mean, going from last year to this year, he's just been a better overall passer, and he's been able to use his legs like he was in college. So my pick right now has got to be Jalen Hurts. I know that Wade can attest to that since he owns Mr. Jalen Hurts in fantasy.
So, like the Heisman, the MVP race is pretty much a quarterback battle the majority of the time in the NFL. Futch and Wade, I want to know, outside of quarterback, who could win the MVP?
I think that you're definitely going to see a quarterback win the MVP, but you might see a non-quarterback win the Offensive Player of the Year, which is kind of, in a way, how they give the MVP to someone that's not a quarterback. So,
yeah,
to answer your question, I think the one name that sticks out is Justin Jefferson. Definitely.
That's not a J. I was trying to show a J in the screen.
That's
I don't know how you're going to do it. Yeah, Jay Jettis, baby.
LSU. Yeah, I just think that Jefferson is having another huge season. He's very consistent, very big for Kirk Cousins and company. Running backs have had kind of a down year overall. I just don't think there's one guy that you could pinpoint and say he's that guy. I mean, you could look at Josh Jacobs, and he's having a great individual season, but his team is horrible. Derrick Henry is putting up good numbers, but they play in a horrible division, and Tennessee probably wouldn't be a playoff team if they didn't play in that division. And we've seen other guys flash and have good years. So I think this is the year of the receiver. If you would go outside the quarterback, I think that Jefferson's your guy, but I think that we might see Hurts win both awards because of his ability as a runner. True. I mean, he's going to be up there in completion percentage as a passer, and he's going to have some metrics that give him top 5 passer ability in the NFL. And then as a rusher, I mean, he'll be just behind Justin Fields in terms of rushing touchdowns and yardage, maybe behind Josh Allen and one of those. But overall, just a very complete effort and season for Hurts, and then the on the field team success is there too. I mean, they're going to be a 1 seed most likely. So,
okay. Futch, do you agree with Wade there with Jay Jettis as the non-quarterback favorite?
Yeah, I'll agree with Wade on that.
Finally, you agree with somebody.
We made a treaty. We have an agreement.
You better be watching some Jay Jettis tape. That might be your pick.
Yeah, me and Wade gotta decide who we want to take number one.
We're playing in the toilet bowl.
Yep.
But no, I think it's Jay Jettis. I just feel like Justin Jefferson is that go-to receiver. He is that guy that you send out there and say go make a catch, for that team. And I think he's obviously the best player in the NFC offensively, and I think probably in the NFL. I mean, if Jalen Hurts is not playing football, he is the consensus MVP pick. You mentioned running backs real quick. I think the only running back who has some sort of question, if those two guys weren't there, probably for me, it'd probably be Austin Eckler. I think he's
had a quiet, good season.
Yeah. He's the only decent player that's had, well, I say decent player, only player for the Chargers that's had a decent season. I mean, they've gone to him almost every time. I mean, first, second, and third down, he's the guy, whether it's a dump-off pass or he's just running the ball. So I think he's a good physical back. He's going to go get you yardage, and that's what a team needs. And he's racked up a lot of touchdowns this year, and they've gone to him in the red zone. I think that they're 6-6, and they're not that great of a team. They probably should be leading the division, or second in the division, right there on the heels of Kansas City, because that's kind of where they've were projected to be. But I think that Austin Eckler is a fantastic back. I think for anybody, as far as fantasy goes, I think Tyler would agree. I think Austin Eckler is a great player for anybody just because of his individual performance.
He's a must draft every year of how consistent he is. Like you mentioned, not only does he get rushing touchdowns, Justin Herbert also goes to him in the receiving game. And also another thing is he loves fantasy football. I'll always see him tweet about fantasy football. Other guys, like Cordell Patterson, saying I don't give a damn about your fantasy team. I'm over here trying to play for my team and get yardage. But Austin Eckler is just Mr. Fantasy Football himself, very consistent. So, I mean, if you're ever asking about Austin Eckler, yes, the answer is always going to be yes to draft him.
Well, shoot. I'm not drafting number 1 next year.
I already know that. No RB is what we have.
No, I'm going wide receiver all day.
I think Jefferson or Jamar Chase is the answer there.
Yeah, I think future MVP, as far as running back goes, that has a chance to win the future MVP. I think if you keep an eye out 4 or 5 years down the line, I think it's Tony Pollard. I think is the guy in Dallas.
Zeke off the curb and let Tony Pollard be RB1.
But didn't they just sign Zeke to like a huge extension?
They have a way out this year. Actually, both guys are free agents at the end of the year. Yeah. But they'll probably franchise tag Pollard. And I think Pollard has a unique situation in that he's been able to gain NFL experience and keeping a good reputation as like one of the better backups, but he's not had all the mileage put on him. And I know that eventually his body will kind of give out and, whatever, maybe age 30 onward. But I think we're going to see him kind of be in his prime in that area where a lot of running backs fall off in that 26 to 28, 29 range. I think that he's due for, a very productive second contract. Whereas we're already seeing guys like Kamara kind of fall off, much like Austin Eckler. He wasn't big when he was 22, 23. Now he's on his second contract. I think he's like 27 or 28, and he's looks good as new. So very similar career trajectories there.
I mean, Pollard is making himself some money this year. I tell you what. So
for another team.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see where he lands. So with that, I mean, Pollard's got a dog in him. We're going to throw it to our Who Got That Dog in Him segment this week. So I'm going to hit the intro, and I'm interested to hear y'all's picks. Who got that dog in them? I guess we could say week 14 since it's week 14 in NFL. We typically do college players, but we don't have any college games besides Army and Navy. So we started with Tyler. Who got that dog in him, Tyler?
Well, we started off with this. Mr. Zion Williamson got that dog in him. I'm gonna
like 7 dogs in him.
I could have done
more like 70 dogs in him.
I mean, that dunk was pretty insane, but I'm actually gonna go to today's game since we're a Sunday show. So I'm gonna go to a stat line. So we had 35 points on the day. He's just playing like MVP candidate. Honestly, the season ended. My vote, no bias, would go to Zion Williamson. I just feel like, I mean, this is just warranted. I mean, this man has just been struggling with injuries, and now you're seeing a team like this team doesn't even have Brandon Ingram on the starting lineup right now, and they're beating the Suns, in back-to-back games. So Zion Williamson, easy dog of the week.
Okay, I like it. I definitely agree with that MVP pick. I mean, you got your typicals like your Luka.
Who else?
And
who else is playing to his level?
He's going to say Ja Morant, but
he's going to say Ja Morant.
Who is
no
your
comment?
Okay, we'll get into some MVP
content for next week.
Is playing off the chart.
When next week when we have literally nothing to talk about, we can have the MVP discussion.
Yeah,
Jacob, you take it next. Who's your dog pick?
I'll go to the NFL since we're on week 14. Brock Purdy is my guy for my dog of the week.
You stole him from me. He was my pick too.
Sorry. But I think he had a fantastic game playing against Tom Brady. He said, he really idolized Tom Brady and went out there and absolutely smacked him. So I think
didn't even give him a shot. I mean, wasn't the final score 35-7?
Yep.
It was 35-0 in the third quarter, and they let off the gas in the fourth. So I think for Brock Purdy, I mean, the most calm I've seen in a rookie quarterback, out there just kind of slinging it around, having fun. Saw him smiling a couple times out there and just having a good time. I think having family there kind of motivated him too. And
his dad's up in the stands crying, the emotions overtaking him. It was a really cool thing to see.
Being the last pick, I mean, in the draft,
Mr. Irrelevant,
is really tough on guys mentally, and I think he kind of gave some insight on that in his post-game interview. But I think he really took it personal and went out there and took it to the Bucs. I mean, that is high caliber offense there that they had, and they don't have the best, greatest guys on offense. Deebo Samuel goes down with an injury, gets carted off, and really McCaffrey's not a huge factor in this game. And really, it all falls on Brock Purdy, and he's got to get rid of the ball. Fantastic throws I saw for a guy picked last in the draft. He definitely got some great experience and is going to build off of that and hopefully be the face of some franchise in the NFL in the future.
I mean,
at the Houston,
it might as well. He's their third string quarterback. I mean, Trey Lance is looking on like, I don't know about all this.
Jimmy G's gone after this.
Yeah,
year.
what is like going to be the 49ers situation going forward at quarterback? Like, who is it going to be there for now?
I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit. We saw this happen with Nick Mullins. We saw this happen.
Well, yeah, you are right. This is his first game. They have no game tape on him. He just comes out there and I totally should have started Brock Purdy over Tyler Huntley. Just saying. I mean, with Justin Fields out, I needed a quarterback. Mike White was my starter. I was like, hey, this league, you can have a second offensive player. And I picked up Huntley because last time he played for Lamar, he did great. Should have gone with Mr. Purdy.
Get Huntley out of here. Mark Andrews didn't even have that great of a day.
Can I preface my dog of the week pick also with Brock Purdy playing through an oblique strain and absolutely went crazy? So
no, there's no diss on Purdy. I just think that San Fran kind of is just really good at developing quarterbacks, not to be elite, but to be quality starters.
It's mine like Kyle Shanahan. I mean, you're going to develop quarterbacks left and right.
Yeah. Wade, who's your pick for dog of the week?
All right, I'm going to kick it to basketball. I usually go football, but kind of that time of the year. So I'm going to go with KJ Williams out of LSU. He's a power forward. Transfer from Murray State. So, trying to read some ESPN stats here and starts playing an ad.
You got to play for ESPN Plus there.
You got to watch the game.
Come on.
I'm just trying to read his game log to y'all because I don't want to miss any cred here for KJ Williams. He went for 35 points against Wake Forest yesterday, played all but 3 minutes of that ball game, hit 7 3-pointers. So that's really big for the big guy. And he turned in a double-double, had 10 rebounds as well in this one. His third double-double of the season. He started his LSU career with a double-double at home against Kansas City. And then he cashed in another one just a few games later against Kansas State in the Cayman Island Classic. So he knows how to show up when the games are big. And his second 30-point effort, he had 30 points against Illinois State. So he's a super senior looking for a shot to get to the NBA. Matt McMahon's gotten some guys to the NBA recently. Ja Morant, Jacob's favorite. So maybe KJ Williams can be the next thing.
So my pick for who got that dog in them is a whole country. It's a country that I've pledged my allegiance to win the World Cup. Is it the
one behind you?
It is the one behind me, my heritage.
You might as well stand up and do a cartwheel.
The Croatian soccer team.
Jeez. Hrvatska in Croatian.
Hrvatska.
What's your confidence level going up against Argentina and Lionel Messi?
1,000.
1,000? Okay.
1,000.
Honestly,
I mean, you already took out the big dog.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm trying to remember in 2018.
I can bet you one thing. It's going to go to penalty kicks because Croatia loves to play in penalty kicks whenever they go to the World Cup.
Croatia's keeper is on crack.
Oh, he's insane. He's absolutely
insane. Think about it. Whenever they went to the World Cup final in 2018, two of the quarterfinal and the semifinal game, they went to penalty kicks and they ran into a young French team and they just overpowered them.
And that's what happened is they ran out of gas.
They ran out of gas.
We went to penalty kicks in the round of 16 in the quarterfinals, and then we beat England 2-1, and then we played a young France team. Now, tables have turned a little bit. Our team's a little younger. I know you still got Luke out there who's older. This is probably his last World Cup. But the boys are getting it done.
I mean, the future's going to be bright. Luka Modric, he is up for the golden ball.
What an itch there, Tyler. It's Croatian.
Yeah, whatever.
Itch.
He is up for the golden ball, so this could come down to, Lionel Messi is up for it too. So whoever wins, this match,
it's going to be
win that trophy.
The two of them battling is going to be an insane game. I mean, they're both around the same age. Yes, Messi is definitely better than Modric is, but who knows? It's the World Cup. Anything can happen.
I'm thinking Croatia and penalty kicks.
That's what I like to hear. I had Croatia beating Team USA
they just feel like a team of destiny.
Hey, and even if we make it to the finals and they lose, it's still a success
Yeah,
from a
Croatia,
small
France,
country.
round 2.
Honestly, there's a very good chance it can happen because
Can't count on Morocco though. They've been on fire. They just beat Portugal 1-0 with Cristiano Ronaldo not even playing. He was on the bench for the first half, and then they brought him in the 53rd minute. They weren't unable to score. I mean, that Morocco goalkeeper has just been the MVP for that team. I mean, he's just been a brick wall.
I say we put a little money on Morocco and maybe Croatia to win it.
That would be an insane.
Sprinkle a little bit of cash.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a chance, they're the underdogs, so there's a chance one of them win. Morocco was like a plus 9,000.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Going into next week. They're still an insane amount of odds.
I'm gonna pull it up and see what.
I got another local dog of the week pick. It was my golf scramble partner, my boy Spencer that I work with. The man was hitting 30-foot putts like nobody's business. I mean, we started off a little slow, 4 straight pars, and then we roll up into Amen Corner out there at Tour 18, the par 4 with the sign, the famous Masters scoreboard. And we took his drive. I hit it on the green with my wedge shot, but I was back half the green. We had like a 25-foot breaker downhill. Okay, first scramble partner Jordan goes, misses it. I go, miss it, but I gave him a good line. Spencer walks up there, takes another swig of his beer, sets it down on the green. Boop. It's rolling. We're starting to get a little antsy. Boom. It's center cup. We went on 4 straight birdies after that. So shout out Spencer getting the team started and helping us take home that dub. So
brought home the trophy.
Exactly. That's what we're going to display it in the office. I won't be there for much longer. I'll be working remote once we move, but I will have the trophy.
We'll Zoom trophy.
Yeah, I'll have it still in my cubicle for everybody to see.
Background.
Yeah,
you're gonna be
like Cameron and put the fantasy football trophy behind you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have it right next to me. I should have brought it on to tonight's show, and it's sitting in my truck. And I forgot about it. But we did like the Stanley Cup. We poured the beer in it. We drank it out of the trophy. There's pictures. It was a great
was it a big
time.
trophy or was
it was sitting in someone's shed for the last 4 months?
No, they actually went and bought it. It's a gold trophy. With a nice base on it. It's about like a foot tall, 1.5 feet tall. I mean, it's a nice cup.
It's decent size.
It was the inaugural Winter Classic for the company that was putting it on. So it was a fun time. Fudge, what are the odds for the World Cup for Morocco to win it?
For them to win their match first against France, they are plus 650.
Jeez.
Okay.
Croatia actually has better odds to beat Argentina at plus 450.
Okay.
They're gonna sprinkle some money.
Future-wise, though, to win it, Morocco actually has the farthest odds at plus 950, and Croatia follows them up at 800.
I said we sprinkle a little cash on it, see what happens. Let the money do the work. So, Morocco. You said Croatia a team of destiny. Morocco is definitely.
France is a juggernaut. I just don't see them losing here.
Hey, that's the fun about sprinkling cash on a plus 900 team to win the World Cup. Since we're talking about it, like you said, Tyler, Ronaldo was benched for the first half.
Yeah.
Mainly because he got offered $200 million a year to go play for a Saudi Arabian team. And I definitely think he's going to do it. I mean, not a contract, $200 million a year. Like, he's already got a ton of money, but $200 million? I mean, they paid Phil Mickelson $135 just to be the spokesperson for Liv, and he made the most money in any sport last year. So $200 million. If I'm Cristiano Ronaldo, see ya. I'm out. I'm going to play for him.
I'm DMing Cristiano Ronaldo after this.
I would do the same.
Yeah, ask Cristiano if we could hold like a thou wow or something. I mean, it's just a little bit of cash. Like, come on, man. So, but Morocco upsets them. Croatia beats Brazil in penalty kicks. Argentina advanced on penalty kicks. I think France handled business pretty well.
Yeah, they handled business because Harry Kane had a chance to tie it at the 80th minute, and he sailed it over. So, England fans, they were just in tears after this game. I mean, this means a whole lot to England fans this World Cup. But France, I'm telling you, they're favorite. They're the defending World Cup champs. They're going to be a tough out. They don't even have like their best two players. Benzema out. Mbappe has been the real deal for them. So
Yep.
I think that France is going to ease into the World Cup final.
So I think we all know my pick, Croatia.
Yeah,
I think we know Tyler's, France.
No,
Futch.
I never said that. I said that Croatia is going to get their revenge tour on France. You didn't let me finish.
Oh, okay. Futch, what were you going to say, and who's your pick to win it?
I was going to say, for as much celebrating that Kane has done for that team in England, I'm glad they lost because he couldn't hit a whole hell of a lot with the amount of celebrating that he did. It was like the goal didn't matter. The celebration after was the key. It just, oh my God, I can't stand it when these guys, and then they miss a kick, and it's just the simplest kick of all time, and they fall on the ground and they grab in their head. I'm like,
he was just trying
seriously,
too much.
You just missed it.
Yeah,
They try so
Soccer
hard.
players are the
Like,
best actors in the world. And that's why they get paid.
NFL receivers are getting there.
I don't know, man.
No.
They watch soccer. They watch the
players
World
are
Cup.
much worse. You just need to watch a game. Like, it doesn't matter. They could just like be like, boop, and they'd be like, oh gosh, foul. Where's the foul?
They had one of the Brazil players he tripped over his own feet, and the Croatian defender like put his hands up like this to show he didn't hit him, and he tumbles, gets up, grabbing his knee, falls to the ground, crying. It's like, dude, nobody even touched you. So,
I think if I was a athletic trainer for those teams and a guy falls on the ground after getting breathed on or something like that, I would literally just come out with this black bag that's unmarked, set it down, open it up, and of course they zoom in on the guy in the athletic trainer there, and I just pull that thing open, put it out there, and it's an operation board, and just freaking sit there and try to mess with it the entire time because that's what it is.
Yeah,
it's so pitiful.
Spray
And I'm just
whenever they get hit. I don't know what spray it is, but like they like spray whenever they got hit. Like, all right, they tap it for a bit.
It's icy hot.
Oh, it is.
They just hit some. I don't know. I'm just saying they just hit some icy hot on them and tell them to get up.
They just like spread it on. Like, okay, you can go back.
You know what's refreshing though? Hockey, because these two dudes on the ice decided they were gonna just like get in a little scuffle completely off the puck, and one guy body checked the other guy into the glass, and the guy's face went straight into the ice, and the ref did not stop play whatsoever. He was like, you know what? That's what you get for playing around like that. And literally the guy was down for a full minute before they changed the lines, and the guy like got up, and they just don't deal with that.
Yeah, you got two ends of the spectrum here. You got the World Cup soccer, and you got hockey where they just kill each other, and it's totally fine. So, Wade, who's your pick who's your pick to win it, Wade, World Cup?
France was the team I had going the furthest that is still alive. So I'll stick with them. I almost picked them to win it all, but I did go with Brazil, so Croatia took care of that.
Futch, did you give us your winner?
I didn't. I did it. You got to go with the hot team. I think the hottest team right now is probably Croatia. I think Morocco's right there with them. I'll go with Croatia. I just feel like their goaltending is going to win them something. It just feels like momentum is on their side.
That guy's such a dog when he gets the penalty kicks.
Penalty kicks are 100% just guessing. I mean, that's all you do is you either jump left or right, but he seems to get it right every time.
That man snorts a line before he
definitely does. He's insane.
He kind of does like little like fake too. Like if you watch him, he goes like this, and then he goes like.
Yeah.
They need to play the audio.
He like gets in the opponent's head.
They need to mic him up before the penalty kicks.
They need to play the audio for "I'm a slithery snake." That's
Wait,
really what needs to
right there. Clip the penalty kick, and we'll put "I'm a slithery snake."
Okay.
So we'll
Let's see if that goes
viral. I'm definitely wearing my Croatia shirt to work tomorrow. Got the polo. I've got a jersey. I might just wear a jersey. Just, you know what? I've got a department meeting. Walk up to my boss, shake his hand, and I'm sitting in a Croatian jersey. Who cares? I mean,
all I know is
it's the week before Christmas. Nobody cares in the office.
Exactly.
I'm very excited for the 2026 World Cup when the U.S. gets the host. That's going to be an insane environment wherever it is.
I'll be back.
Go to it.
I should be back in Houston then. So we'll start working on Sports Scramble media passes. Okay, Sports Scramble Media passes.
I don't care who play. It could be Saudi Arabia and Ghana if all I care for.
That would be a heck of a game. I don't think I'm going to that game.
Tyler's going to get kidnapped and taken back to Saudi Arabia.
Hey, they're gonna give me free money because they have all the money in the world.
I don't think they're paying you $200 million, buddy.
Here comes the contract for you to do a podcast, and then you're going to be.
You're going to see a shadow, and there's just going to be like a gun pointed at you.
But preferably the US gets to play.
Tyler's going to call it Iran and get drug out of the stadium just by his feet. And he's going to disappear off the face of the earth. Since
they're one of the hosts, they get one of the easier groups.
Hopefully. I mean, we need it.
That's what they usually do for host sites. Qatar had, an easy group, and look what happened to them. They couldn't even get a single point.
Well, we are talking about Qatar here. They're not really known for
I think that every kid born from now, well, we're already too late, but every kid that's playing youth football right now should be transitioned to soccer so that we can make a run at this 2026 thing.
Would be a bad idea. So
every 5-star high school recruit is now going to play soccer.
Yeah, just go ahead and transition them to soccer. Every college football
kickers will now be on our national team.
Right. So
that is the definition. That is the definition of sports communism, right there.
Yeah. Don't put Cody Parkey on there. If you ever go into penalty kicks, he's going to doink it off of the post.
Yeah. You don't want that happening. So
running backs are expendable, man. We can just.
They're fast. Throw them out there. Let them.
And honestly, that was such a Brazil way to lose of hitting the post. I mean, they just have been choking in all the past. I mean, going from the 7-0 or a couple of years ago, losing to Germany to now doinking it off of the post to lose.
I mean, what's to stop them recruiting like a 5-star linebacker, put him at the middle defender place, and tell him you find the best player on that team and you take him out first minute. You're red carded, who cares? But you take him out and just destroy their team.
Like,
you can't have a goon. It's not the NHL.
I don't know. I think that should be.
I'd like to see linebackers play in the NHL.
You're playing a man down for the rest of the match, but if you take out someone like a Ronaldo or something, whoever is their team, just lay him like clean as clock. I mean,
a guy like Ray Lewis.
That's probably why they have the red card rule the way it is, so that you can't just blatantly sabotage someone and then bring in a substitute.
Right. That's exactly because FIFA or soccer is the most corrupt sport in the world. So that's exactly why, because they would totally just put someone out like a Patrick Queen, who Neil picked for his dog of the week. Put him out there and just murder somebody and then just substitute the next defender in. So, all right. World Cup game is Tuesday. 1:00, Croatia versus Argentina. And we got France Wednesday. France versus Morocco, 1:00. So, the final is Sunday, 9 a.m. So we'll be able to
recap.
Yeah, we'll be able to recap the final next week. So make sure y'all tune in for that. We started our dog of the week talk to get into the NFL, and then we went on a World Cup spiral. So real quick, I saw a tweet today that was pretty interesting about the NFL, and I put it on the notes, and y'all might have saw it and just been like, what the heck is he talking about? From Uber Facts, the NFL is recognized as an entertainment business rather than a sport, so legally they can fix the outcome of games.
Well, we already saw it.
What are y'all's thoughts on that?
2018 NFC championship game.
Yep. Oh, God, here we go.
No, I mean, it definitely raises.
Asking for an
I just want you to think about who plays in the NFL, and let me ask you if you think you can orchestrate 53 of those guys to go along with the same thing. They all have huge egos. They're all getting paid tons of money.
Well, I think it's more
they get caught up in the moment. It's just.
I think it's more like the referees. I mean, they can definitely. Well, like Tyler just said, one call can change complete.
I don't know what year it was. You remember that year they had like backup referees come in off
the COVID year.
Yeah, I don't think it was a COVID year. It was like 2015, 2016.
I think they had a referee.
It was a lockout. Yeah, it was a lockout.
Yeah.
NFL lockout. That was the reason.
Yeah. So that was just a little interesting thing I saw on Twitter yesterday, and I was like, that's something to look into next time somebody gets screwed in the playoffs.
They probably save 0.05 on their taxes that way.
Yeah, so it's
probably
just a tax write-off.
you can't say the NFL is an entertainment business, though, because the WWE is an entertainment business, and Brock Lesnar used to play football for some strange reason. Tried to play defensive line for the Minnesota Vikings, and that was an epic fail. So he decided to go to WWE, where he flourished as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. So you can't tell me that the NFL is an entertainment business, because
I feel like that's
all these guys.
If you're like a big defensive tackle and you can't make the league, I'm just either going to be an MMA,
Go to wrestling,
or go to the WWE.
It is. I mean, John Cena would have been the greatest defensive end of all time.
She's coming around the corner. You can't see me. Over the top. Somebody that's actually having a resurgence in their career is Baker Mayfield. I know it was only one game, but he came in there and he brought him back. I mean, is this the Bake Show now?
Watch out
in LA.
Brock Purdy and Baker Mayfield for the Super Bowl next year, according to
Yeah.
I would hold the brakes on LA. Once Matthew Stafford comes back and healthy, that's going to be Sean Payton's guy.
His wife's going to make him retire.
Audition for the other 32 teams in the league.
But realistically, Tyler, how long does Matthew Stafford have left?
Maggot Kelly's going to make him retire.
That's what I was going to say. He probably only has
2 years.
1 or 2 seasons.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah,
after
2
this
years
year?
after that, somebody's got to step in.
I think he walks away after this season.
Yeah, especially with the injuries that he's had. I mean, he been
just
out
won the Super Bowl
half the year.
They're not going to win the Super Bowl next year. He's not going to want to switch teams again. And his wife is like suing the NFL for head injuries. So I just don't see the incentive to come back. He's not going to want to end his career on another Detroit rebuild. So you might as well go out when you at least have a championship taste in your mouth somewhat and let the team. I think the Rams actually have a first-round pick this year, or maybe they don't, but let them try to just draft someone and move on.
You know what's going to happen? Matthew Stafford is going to do what Tom Brady didn't. He's going to actually survive and retire younger than Tom Brady, and he's actually going to keep his wife. So he wins.
Keep his wife, not be painted.
Tom Brady's going to play until he gets his senior citizen check at 65 at this rate.
Tom Brady's going to play until he's 50, then he's going to join the PGA Champions Tour and just go play on that.
Or he's going to be dead last and miss the cut every single week.
Well, probably so, but the lawsuit.
He did have that one good shot at the match when he held out for.
That was like the Steph Curry rigged full court shots. I mean that.
Yeah, y'all saw that the video that they released of him throwing the shots behind his back. Thought that was funny.
Fake. He's terrible.
Wade, you bringing up the lawsuit makes up a good point, because who knows, Stafford might get pulled into that, and then he can't play.
Mm-hmm.
It might be some sort of legal action taken there.
Here comes Roger Goodell.
I mean,
legal action.
They wouldn't be upset if he retired. Like the Rams would have felt like they got their money's worth.
They put all their eggs in one basket last year, and they got what they wanted.
They got it done. So, I don't think it's a coincidence that they brought in Baker Mayfield, because I actually just looked it up. They do not have a first-round pick. But
because they sold the cow for last year.
Yeah,
kind of like the Saints.
Yeah, they sold out for years to come. But the second round and onward, it still follows that same order. So there'd be no incentive to win for them at this point, because they could have the second pick of the second round or something, which is territory to find a good quarterback. So I think they brought in Baker to see if there's anything left in him, and then if not, then they're in decent draft position to go get someone in a good class. Maybe like a project like, I'll say it, Will Levis.
I got the draft pick for the Saints this year. In the second round, it better be Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off an injury. He's definitely going to fall in the first round. You might as well grab him.
Teams are going to pass up on him, so why not?
Teams passed up on Drew Brees, and look what he turned into. Hendon Hooker is the next Drew Brees. Hendon Hooker is the next.
Throw the brakes on that. I don't know about all that, but he would be a good project.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But do you ever notice the guys that come from big universities, like Power 5, big
they always fizzle out.
Just fizzle out too early? Like the guys from programs that are smaller are the ones that survive longer. Like that's why I think Malik Willis will be around for a long time, because he played at Liberty and he knows what to do.
He's
And
a
he's
good
just a
system. I
balanced
mean, Ryan
quarterback.
Tannehill ain't going to be there for long.
Exactly. Right. But going back to the Rams, I think if the Rams want to use a draft pick, I don't think they go after a quarterback. I think they're going to have to go after a D tackle because realistically, how long is Aaron Donald going to be around? I mean, you might as well get somebody in there.
You could even say
develop
receiver too, because I mean, after Cooper Kupp, who you got after that? I mean, Van Jefferson has been up and down. Allen Robinson hasn't been the guy that you were hoping to sign. So I mean, once Cooper Kupp goes down, like where do you go to after that? I mean, the offense just becomes non-existent.
We're looking at it right now.
Right. I want to talk about Debo getting hurt. I mean, that kind of pumps the brakes on the 49ers. I guess they still got some playmakers, but he got carted off the field. It looked bad. I don't know if
they said high ankle sprain, but it looked like a knee to me.
Yeah, the way he was like, in pain and on the ground and carted him off, like I'm hoping it's not an ACL or something, that just kind of looked like that.
If you grab your knee immediately, it is not a high ankle sprain. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I got an alert saying that he was like questionable to return to the game. He was out, then listed from out to questionable. I was like, he's not coming back in. They're up 35-0. They're not putting him back in. Neil dropping a little knowledge on us. He says Titans firing their GM this season. I saw that. So, well, that's interesting. Somebody just sounded like the B movie. I don't know if y'all heard that or if it's just coming through my headphones.
I think I bumped my mic.
Okay, I was like, what in the world's going on here?
But I mean, if Debo's out for a couple of weeks, the 49ers are going to have to turn to Brandon Ayuk. That's going to be their wide receiver one. I mean, that's been a guy that I have drafted in fantasy literally in every year, waiting for him to break out. Looks like he has been, the past couple of weeks. So I think that even with Debo being out, Brandon Ayuk, I trust him to step up. And you also have Christian McCaffrey coming out the backfield. He had a good game today, over 100 yards on the ground and a touchdown. So even with that loss, that would suck. I mean, it would just be the 49ers season in a nutshell, just dealing with injuries. But for the 49ers, the division is still wide open. The Rams are not going to win it. The Cardinals are up and down. And then the Seahawks are also, a team that we cannot figure out. So I think the 49ers are still in a great position, even with the injuries.
Does anybody know who the backup quarterback for the 49ers is right now in case Brock Purdy goes down?
Josh Johnson.
On a roll.
Is it
really?
I was going to say Christian McCaffrey.
Wow.
They took my advice. They went and signed a guy off of the practice squad to start the game.
I think he did play in the XFL.
Yeah.
He played on like 13 NFL teams.
Well,
that's a record.
You got to have something.
Look at 14.
That's commitment right there.
It's his third time on the 49ers.
Wow.
Looking around.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Philadelphia's got the East locked up. I mean, they've dismantled the Giants 48-22. Obviously they're the favorites. We had our friend Steven Reichel come in and say you misspelled race to catch the Eagles since I typed race to the Super Bowl. I think that's a pretty good assumption there. So one last NFL, Dallas struggled today against their in-state rivals. I mean, was that just a fluke, or do you think they're starting to fall apart now that everybody has their confidence in them?
I don't really want to say that it's a fluke game. I think that the Texans just came to play for once against a really good team. I mean, the Cowboys coming off of an absolute whooping on Sunday Night Football. The Dallas Cowboys defense put up a really good fantasy outing too. I mean, they just did it all. But I mean, Tony Pollard had a very good game. Like I mentioned, I feel like that has to be your guy going forward. I know that Zeke is a formidable guy, but I mean, you just can't have one of the best running backs in your back pocket. I mean, that's a great 1-2 punch, so it wouldn't be surprising. But I don't know, just Dallas's defense did not show up for some reason today.
Who knows? I mean, I wouldn't say they didn't show up. The Texans only scored 22 points, but I think it's just one of those rivalry games. I mean, there's not many rivalry games in the NFL. Houston wanted to get a chance, saves. I mean, Houston
hard to get up for a 1-10 team.
Right. I mean, that's typically what happens. So, I wanted to talk a little bit. Aaron Judge signed a $40 million a year contract there. You know where he needs to be spending his $40 million a year? YETI. Get him a new cooler. Get him some luggage to hold all that cash. You can still order and get it before Christmas. Free shipping on orders over $50. use our link. Like I said, you help us get some Christmas presents and get your family some Christmas presents. I think it was Butch. You said something about using a Yeti the other day. You were going on a trip or something. Did you ever get one?
Yeah, he's going to throw it outside the cliff.
Yeah,
That's right.
Throw it into the Grand Canyon to test. No, speaking of Yeti, so this is kind of funny. I don't know if you guys saw this, but they had a shipping container. You know, they move a lot of these things across the water.
Or they built stadiums out of them in Qatar.
Yeah, that too. So they had a news report. Apparently in Alaska, of course, Alaska has those southern islands. They're off of it.
Yeah.
So on one of the little islands, they had, I guess somehow the coolers weren't secure and they fell into the ocean and they recovered some of them, but not all of them. Well, let's just say 20 multicolored coolers, Yeti coolers washed up on a Alaskan
they're buoyant.
island.
You're never going to lose them.
Never.
If you go on a cruise and you toss them off the side of the ship, you'll still retrieve them.
Yes, that is a perfect.
I had a couple cold ones in there.
Dude, if you
and they were still cold.
There was some beer in there,
yeah, I bet they were.
So that's perfect right there. You hear that, Yeti?
Go into the Saharan desert and that sucker would still be cold.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
four containers fell off. So they were carrying fridges, running shoes, and Yeti coolers, which is pretty funny. I mean, that's crazy to think that they came from. I mean, they came from way out in the Pacific Ocean, and they went all the way up to
still
Alaska.
Floated.
Hey, look, they made it to the U.S. and it's probably where they were going anyway. So,
hey, that's pretty awesome to hear.
That's called free shipping right there.
Yeah, you don't even have to spend $50.
Imagine watching the shipping tracker on that one.
That's literally by land, by sea, right there. I mean,
they get it to you no matter what. So yeah. Go visit our friends over at Yeti. Use our link right there and get some coolers. Hopefully they get to you directly and not end up in Alaska. But if they do fall off the ship, they're getting to you no matter what. I want to bring our last segment, of course, the TMZ Sports segment of the week. And this one's sponsored by our friends over at Piper Golf Balls. Pipe your drives like us using Piper. I've got some golf balls for y'all next time you come visit. I've got the blue pack for the mid handicaps, because that's kind of what we are, except for Jacob. He's a scratch golfer. He needs the gold.
I could use some mini handicap balls. All right.
Hey, so
I think I forgot how to swing a club, so I might
me too.
Like I mentioned weeks ago, I have not touched a club since the whack.
It's December and it's 80 degrees in Houston, so I'm playing as much as I can.
It has been beautiful lately.
Yeah, it has been nice weather.
So if you go on over to piper.golf/Sports Scramble 10, or even you just Google Piper Golf, you can use our promo code, get 10% off. I was putting some nice spin on these balls on the green. So they get high spin. They got a little bit of a lower launch angle, which was nice. I thought I bladed one over the green the first time I used it. And dude, hit the green, spun back to the pin. I was like, oh, I've never done this before. Cool. So I like them. But my TMZ Sports segment of the week has to do with Miss Brittany Griner. But it's not a quote from her. It's a quote from everyone's favorite Tiger King, Joe Exotic.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Jesus.
He said, and I quote, Brittany Griner's free, so let me out too, Mr. President. He feels that since...
Isn't he in there for murder?
Yes. He feels that since President Biden struck a deal with Russia to free WNBA star Brittany Griner, he deserves his freedom.
You could have made that a deal, send the Tiger King to Russia instead.
Yeah, really. That would have been hilarious. He says, the whole Brittany Griner and Trevor, this is quoted, the whole Brittany Griner and Trevor Reed prisoner swap is a slap in every American's face that is wrongfully detained in the American federal prison system, including myself. Says he's innocent of any crimes and says Carol Baskin is who to blame. It never goes away. It never goes away. He is, like Wade said, he is comparing himself to Brittany Griner, who was arrested on a drug charge, to him, who was tried and convicted for hiring a hitman to kill Carol Baskins.
I mean, say what you want about the Brittany Griner situation, but I think the one thing everyone agrees on is it really wasn't that big of a crime. It just was where it happened and then using resources to get her out. But yeah, you can't compare those two.
Yeah.
I think there should have been a 3-team trade on this one. I think that 3-team trade, you send people over and somehow money is included in one of them, for future considerations.
We're gonna start seeing this like it's gonna be like fantasy football, like or like in Madden, like where like you get like
trade decline.
Bar doesn't even go, like terrible trade decline.
Yeah, say what you want to say about the Brittany Griner situation. I don't think Joe Exotic has, any say in it.
He's 2 different circumstances.
21 years in prison, and he wants to be
Our
released.
TMZ segments are just getting crazier by the week. So who the heck knows what you're gonna have?
That's what I like to end it on. I like to start y'all's Sunday night, start your week on a crazy TMZ sports.
Something that you can think about on the Monday commute.
Yeah, think about Joe Exotic.
Thinking about Carol Baskins on my Monday morning lift.
Y'all got anything else before we end tonight's show?
I think we covered it all.
I'm glad to see your internet held up till the very end, Tyler.
Yeah,
you were able to
switch computers.
I noticed you were a little different shade.
So,
well, dang Max. Hey, maybe they should be shipping those over the Pacific and putting them in some Yetis.
Come on, where's that durability?
So. Sports Scramble tonight, Sunday nights every week. Next week we'll be doing a show, and then the weekend after that is Christmas. So we may get you an early one, maybe a Thursday night or something. College football coast to coast still on for tomorrow afternoon.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow we'll be on a little earlier.
Ooh,
a
little matinee.
College football coast to coast at noon, at lunchtime.
Hey, we're gonna be like the big noon kickoff. Jacob's favorite.
Yeah.
Oh yes, my favorite.
Maybe we can have Bruce Johnson come on.
Now I gotta know. Yeah, there you go. See if we can put a feeler out to him. SEC talk on Tuesday. What are y'all going to talk about?
We got something special cooking up. We got our first annual SEC Talk Awards tomorrow. Check out our Facebook. I'll have all the awards, so all of our fans will be able to vote. So we'll be able to do that show on a regular time. Should be at
vote on the count once.
Yep.
Sent the Heisman.
Yeah.
This is no mail-in votes. Like, got to be in person.
One vote per ballot, please.
Very secure internet browser.
Yeah, we'll have to throw those on Twitter too. Get a wide range of people, so you can vote on the Sports Scramble Twitter or the SEC Talk Facebook page.
Yeah, should be lots of fun though.
I think that pretty much wraps up. We didn't have a college football playoff predictions this week because it's set. Upset alerts. Can't really predict an upset
next week.
Yeah, I guess we could do it for the
whole entire bowl season. Pick one.
So I'm not totally sure what you got going on there. But appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. If there's nothing left for my co-host, we'll go ahead and end it right before an hour and a half. We're at an hour and 29. We're trying to make them shorter, but it never happens. So thank you to everyone that tuned in tonight. You will catch us next week, and we hope you all have a great week.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.